Okay.
Recording. Okay, perfect. It being 5 o'clock and it looks like everyone is present, we will call to order the Transportation Committee meeting. I don't think it's May 23rd, however. I think it might be March. So,
They're gone.
but we can always plan ahead. Is there anything that anyone would like to add to the agenda? No, if not, okay, we'll just go down with the updates. And I don't think we have any update on PSRC or KRCC's Transpol. We're still working on the transportation element of the CPPs. And I know that that was a very frustrating meeting for Mark. And I don't know whether you have anything to add to that.
Not really. I mean, what I finally requested at the end was that we just have a joint meeting between Plan Paul or LUTAC and TransTat, because the majority of the CPPs are planning based. We've got these transportation, associated things, and we were working in these vacuums, but having Clay and Kiz try to be the conduit between the two. And basically, when we started that last meeting, it was the beginning of the meeting, and I'd already gotten with you and Nick once, and then with Nick a second time after he went to LUTAC. And so we already had a lot of comments, and they were going through it just as, well, this is where we're at and we're ready to be done. And so they were like, okay. So I said, okay, so we're just going to provide city's comments and we're not going to go through this document. No. Well, then we were getting towards the end of it, and suddenly certain jurisdictions started like asking and throwing in, like rewriting the whole thing right then and there. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's not what we said we were going to do. So
right. I know that one particular jurisdiction had, I was told, over 70 comments. So that seemed a little onerous. So I know that that's why I was hoping to have an updated version. It's element H to bring this evening, but it is not ready yet. So where that stands for the rest of our committee members is LUTAC and TransTat at their second meeting in April, I believe, are going to address the transportation element. So we may not have anything to bring back to this transportation committee until later in April. So that's what I have for that. Nick, do you have anything to add?
Well, I did receive an updated draft from KRCC through KIZ that is for our next meeting as part of our next meeting packet. So I haven't had a lot of time to look at all of the edits, but the 70 or so edits you mentioned appear to be in this document, and okay. They're pretty considerable in terms of the changes that are proposed. And the big challenge that I see is they're really taking the emphasis away from centers as part of the transportation element, which seems to be counter to what Vision 2050 tells us that we should be doing. And so I'm not quite sure why TransTat is striking that, but the very introductory part of element H, transportation, includes 3 bullets.
But I don't think it is TransTat, Nick. I think it's Paulsbo, right?
I thought
it's the county.
No, and
the county.
So you hit the nail on the head, Nick, is that's exactly when that topic started coming up from the county. Sorry, Scott. That's when I called a mulligan and said, look, TransTat can't do this on our own from LUTAC, because this is exactly the point, is the planners are following the guidelines and the goals for centers, and then we kind of have this arbitrary move away from centers. And it was like, this is never going to get done if we operate in these 2 silos. And I don't even know what that document looks like, Nick, with the 800 revisions and track changes in different colors. Is it even legible?
Partially. I mean, there's a lot of edits, but fortunately there's only one color. It's purple.
Okay, so as far as this committee's concerned, do you need, either one of you need input from us for your next meeting? Or do you feel you have a good sense for what the city, what would be in the best interest of the city of Port Orchard?
I need a little bit more time to look at it, but I think I
Okay.
have a pretty good feeling on where the council is at on this. But you know, I really think that the big overriding themes that I saw was they were removing the emphasis on centers from the transportation element, which seemed problematic to me. And I'm curious to hear whether the committee members agree that centers should be still part of theme of the transportation element. And that really relates to this idea that we are trying to invest in our centers to grow as efficiently as we can, because there's limited transportation money, and we should be spending that in a way that maximizes the bang for our buck, so to say, on that investment. Is that
I agree with you, Nick, wholeheartedly. I think you characterized it very well. If we want to be as efficient as possible in using a limited bucket of money for development in areas that we've all recognized need to be priorities, we've got to be on board with that. So I'm behind you all the way on that.
And I do too. I support Nick's efforts and appreciate his efforts on the on actually being probably one of the only planners that I've seen that actually is willing to, you know, dive in outside of more of the planning related and getting the transportation portion. So
Okay, thank you.
But it sounds like the cities need to, I don't want to say collude, but get together and with a unified voice, because the county can't pass this without the support of, I think, 2 of the cities, right?
3.
3?
But it goes to the county first. If the county doesn't bless it and approve it, it never gets to the cities.
well, and this is why that meeting, that joint meeting back between the policy and the transportation working groups, that needs to happen. So that might be a very long, frustrating meeting, but I think that's where the battle is going to be fought.
Yep.
I don't think it involves the transportation. It's the policy. To be honest, I mean, the transportation folks are doing what the commissioners are telling them to do.
Right, but I think when you get the planners and the transportation folks in the same room.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but I think their direction is coming from the commissioners.
Yeah, and my point is, I think we've got to, you know, rock, paper, scissors through that to get a document that can go then to the next policy level.
Okay.
What I see happening is every jurisdiction is in kind of a defensive or protective mode, should we say. And the county is protecting basically future revenue is what they're trying to protect. But Nick, if you need any help, give me a call. Would be glad to be supportive if I can.
all right? Will do.
And so how's our Sydney sewer repair coming along? Is that Mark or is that Chris?
That can
That's
be me.
Chris.
Okay.
So, well, we got our lowest bid was the lowest responsible bid at 358,000 with ACI Active Construction
Oh,
Incorporated in Tacoma. So that's good. It's 6% over the engineer's estimate, but there was quite a range of bids, and so I think we're pretty that went on up to, you know, almost 500, over 500,000 for the project. So I think
Chris,
we're pretty fortunate.
is that
to
the
have
same
this,
active that did Tremont? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark's nodding his head yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not, I guess I wasn't in the loop on that, but so the one consideration, that's going to be coming to council for approval in April. Is that right, Mark?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm not sure where you're at with the staff report and the resolution and the contract, but it's currently scheduled for the 13th.
Okay. So heads up on that for everyone.
Okay.
One consideration is the road amount of the bid is 197,000. And I think we have, what do we have, 300 or 350 in the budget for the road funds for this year?
Oh, okay.
So it's going to use the majority of that. And so I'm thinking strategically, I think what might be better is to combine this year's amount and next year's amount into a bigger contract that can take place in the winter. I think if I only have $150,000, I'm not going to get as good a price as if I have a bigger contract. And also, I think I can get better prices if I set it up where these companies are looking to keep their people busy in the winter, and a lot of the grind and patch can happen then. So I think we'll get better prices as well. So what I'd like to be able to do is go ahead and get that kind of scoped here in the next month or two, work with operation and maintenance to do their work and coordinate it with the work that gets contracted out. And then look to bid the project in October, November, at the end of the year, and then be able to do the work through the winter.
Mark,
Nice.
do you have any concerns with asphalt temperatures in March, or as long as it's dry?
It's better to do the patching when it's colder, because then it expands into the holes as it heats up into the summer.
Okay.
Tends to hold better. If we do patching on asphalt, there's some things we got to think about, but it can be done. It's really hard to pave in November and December because you're either fighting for temperatures or it's too wet. But at other times of the year, there's opportunities to get the work done.
So Chris, back on Sydney Sewer, is Colby working on the staff report resolution and contract? Because that has to get to Charlie by the 6th.
Okay, I thought I was done with everything I needed to do, but let me check my emails and verify that.
I can make sure, because I know last time we talked about it, we were talking about it was the bidders check. Well, that was something else. Just follow up with Colby and make sure that he's getting everything to Charlie by the 6th. Otherwise, it won't make the 13th.
Okay,
Chris.
I'll check in with him tomorrow.
Yeah, this is Jay. I think I missed the linkage, but you were not linking